Hi everyone, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make meringue and chocolate ganache. First, set your oven temperature to 225. I know that seems like a pretty low temperature, but basically all you have to do is dry the meringue. Today I have 4 eggs, half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, an eighth of a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon vanilla, and 1 cup of sugar. So you need to separate the whites and the yolks. So the whites go in there and the yolks go in there. All you want for this is just the whites. So you just need to rock it back and forth from one eggshell to the other until all that's left is the yolk. And the second one, and the third one, and also the fourth one. Now we don't need that part of the egg, so we could just set that aside for now. So you need to mix the egg whites all in a large bowl, the cream of tartar, and the salt. And mix that on speed 2 until it's all completely well combined. I would consider this about half done. We just need to check it after every couple minutes. It'll take about 5 minutes to blend. And you need to have stiff peaks for it to be ready. That's looking a little bit better. There you go. That's better. You gotta have stiff peaks like that. Just like that. And it tastes really bad by itself. So you gotta add a tablespoon of sugar at a time to this mixture until the whole cup is gone. And another tablespoon and another tablespoon. And down to my last tablespoon of sugar. That's all the sugar that we need for this one, and now it tastes really sweet and meringue, I guess. Now you can set the mixer down and scrape the sides of the bowl off with a spatula. And you can pick a little bit up in your fingers, and if it still feels crunchy with sugar granules, you'll still need to mix it some more. So you need to add your 1 teaspoon of vanilla to the mixture and just stir that around for about 5 seconds. It doesn't take that long for that to incorporate in the mixture. So I can pick it up in my fingers and it feels much better than it did. There's no sugar granules in it or anything. And it tastes just perfect. So now I have 2 bowls and I put about 1 scoop of meringue in each. And I chose 2 colors, pink and yellow. Now I have one of my Russian ball piping tips. I have never used these before. I just got them in the mail the other day, and I need to try to figure out how to use it, and I want to see if it works with meringue. I'm not expecting it to work that well, because usually if you want to use Russian piping tips, because they have such small details, you need something really thick like buttercream frosting. So I'm kind of doubting this meringue. So I put all of the mixture into the cups. I lined some baking, oops, that didn't work. Okay, anyway, I lined some baking sheets with parchment paper, and I did like little kiss shapes, I guess, like chocolate kisses. And I did a bunch of those on one pan. And then on the other side, I tried to use the Russian piping tip. And it didn't work as well as I wanted it to, but it worked much better than I thought it would. I guess it just takes practice. So I took that first one off and I replaced it with some of the pink ones. And I decided to only cook one of them at a time. So now you can slide these in the oven. You'll need to do that for 1 hour. That's a very long time, but it's also on a very low temperature. Dun 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 dun. I let these sit in the oven for about an hour so they could cool off and harden some. There are 28 of these little kisses plus this large one over here. So that's a lot. And that's only half the batch too. So I got this mason jar and I'll put them all in there. And this would work perfectly for a gift. With the lid on top and everything. You could even put some little ruffled cloth around the top too. And also remember to put these in an airtight container for when you store them. I personally think that one turned out pretty well for how bad it started. So I'm going to color the rest of my meringue yellow and use that for some more of those flowers. So I'll just stir that all together. Ugh, there we go. Now I gotta put the rest of that in these two piping bags. Now the blue bag had a little bit of pink left in it, but that's fine because it'll make a little color swirl in it. So I jam-packed those full with the rest of the meringue, and I'm going to try to make more of those little meringue shapes with the clear piping bag. So with the blue one, I just made some more kisses because they are cute and they are very easy and fun to make. Now I'm going to change this star tip out to just a plain round one like that. It's super small. So these are kind of hard and tricky to do. So you got to just put a flat circle of the meringue onto your piping sheet, and then you build it up on the sides so it looks almost like a little cup that you can put stuff in. Now, not all of those were pretty good. I think the third one that I made was fairly good, but the first one wasn't too good, I don't think. I think it just looked a little weird and sideways. So I'm going to make more of... Ooh, well, that didn't work at all. Okay, it'll still taste good, so I'm going to make a few more of those because they're kind of cute when you get them to work right. And I can put all these in the oven for another hour. And while those in the oven, I'm going to make the chocolate ganache. So I need some heavy whipping cream, chocolate chips, and some water. I don't have the amounts for this because everybody would need different amounts for the consistency that they would like. So I need to add some of my chocolate chips to a bowl. That should be enough chocolate chips. So I melted that in the microwave for 30 seconds. And I took it out and stirred, and it is just starting to melt. But you want to make sure you do this every time that you melt it, and do it for a short period of time because microwaves heat unevenly. So I put that in for another 30 seconds, and it's getting there, but it's not quite done. So I put it in for another 20 seconds, and that worked pretty well. And then all I had to do was just keep stirring it because I didn't want it to burn. Now I added a little bit of water to that, not very much, not a quarter of the cup that I put out for you guys. So I stirred that together, and water makes chocolate seize, so it gets all clumpy and gross. But then the milk kind of makes it unseize? I don't know if that's how you say it, but it just makes it smooth again, and it tastes like chocolate ganache and creamy and everything. It's really good. I used most of the heavy whipping cream that I had. It just makes it taste really good, and you can add as much as you would like to this. So I put an even smaller piping tip on the end of that, and I put it down into a cup, and I put the sides around the cup, and then I opened it up a little bit so I could get the chocolate in it easier. And that seems to work really well. So I'm just going to put that in the piping bag. And I liked how it worked this way. It worked really well with such a small piping tip, and it came out really nicely. So I'm just going to fill every single one of these little cups up, and I had 8 of them, so I'm just going to start with 4, just to see how it works, just to make sure it wouldn't get too soggy or something. So I piped it in, and that worked really well. I think it was kind of cute. So those 4 worked, so I might as well just go on to making the other 4. I'm not sure if I liked how these turned out, but I'll show it to you guys anyway. So I covered the bottom of these with a little bit of chocolate, and see, I had a little bit of chocolate melted in the bottom of that bowl. It was the same mixture, water, chocolate, and heavy whipping cream. So I covered the bottom with that. I would cover the chocolate in candy cane, chopped up candy canes, but I didn't have any at my house at this time, so I just didn't do that. I think it looked kind of cute this way. So I covered the bottom of another one, and another one, and I smoothed the bottom of that one out. And I decided those two didn't work very well, so I just attached one that didn't have any chocolate on it, and that looks like a little cookie. Kind of like a macaroon, but just macarons don't have the pointy thing on them. So this wasn't planned, but I figured out that the inside of these big meringues that I made had air pockets in them, so I could, oops, that was a mistake. So I filled them up with chocolate, and that was a lot of chocolate that I could fit in those, so when you break them open, they look delicious. And that one had a pretty big air pocket in it, so that one worked really well. This one is kind of small, but you can't see much, but there really is a big hole in there. So I just kept piping, and now it started to squirt out. So I wiped it off so it would be smooth, and it wouldn't have anything on the plate when I laid it down. So there's all of them. There are the big ones that I made that I had a little bit of chocolate in them. And there's the one that looks like a macaroon. There's the one that doesn't look very pretty, but it'll taste the same. There's the normal ones, and there's the ones that I filled up with chocolate ganache. And there are just the plain ones also, but they taste amazing. And those could be used as any gift. Thanks so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And you can leave a comment down below if you have any questions or requests for my next video. And again, thanks for watching.